Hi guys, Jay Smith here. Welcome to the AskGolfNut channel. Welcome to the STG230 video. Boxing glove head cover. Relatively fluffy inside, good winter mitt. The STG230 or ST230G, whichever one it is, doesn't matter. The 230 series that also has the Z and the X. The Z is the neutral one, the X is the slightly draw bias one, and the G is the one with the maximum adjustability. And it has the adjustability through two reasons: the same neck sleeve, loft sleeve that the other Z, and the X have, which with a 9.5 head, which this is, it goes down at 7.5 all the way up to 11.5. So you've got quite a big scope of range for lofts to choose from. We do have these tracks at the bottom of the golf club. There's 14 grams of weight, two 7-gram weights of discretionary weight, which you can move. Now, if you move them all the way to the front near the face, it makes it low spin. Or lower spin, it's already a low spin head. If you then move them right at the back, which is what I've got at the moment on here, that makes it the highest MOY, the more forgiving, and the slightly higher spin. It's still fairly low spinning. And of course you can move it all the way into the draw section on the heel and all the way into the fade section on the toe, and you can still move them front to back to adjust spin, even though you want it heavily fade bias or heavily draw bias, and kind of get the idea. Different technology in the face for this year. We have a forged titanium LFS face. Comment below, what does LFS stand for? Because I don't know. Oh, by the way, before people ask, I have this in the hazardous shaft, the same green hazardous Hulk shaft I used in the Z and also the X. We're going to have it hit now, but I will be doing some testing right at the back end of the video. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be testing these weights in different sections, different parts, to see what the difference is when you move the weight. But I'm also going to do some testing with the loft as well with the weight to see what kind of golfer can use this G driver. Right, though, let's go get it on a hole, have some fun hitting the new ST230G driver. So simulator is now on. We're at Crosswater Golf Club, hole 2. It's a par 5 of 517 lovely yards. However, there is water down the left-hand side. Now, the miss over here is right. Just hit it right. Don't hit it left, because that's where big numbers come from. And guys, if you're trying to get your handicap down, make sure you take the big numbers off your scorecard. Get the doubles off, the triples off, the quadruples off, because the bogeys and pars will kind of look after themselves. And on this hole, I'm hitting 3-wood. Right, so the STG230, we have the carbon on the top as normal, quite customary now when it comes to the Mizuno drivers, and then the Cortec blue bit at the bottom is not blue anymore, it's grey, and of course we have that track system. We have the carbon wraparound that goes into the toe, again trying to save weight, because obviously the track and weighting system has weight. So we're trying to keep everything to a minimum. It's a 440cc head. So down by the golf ball, it is a smaller footprint. You can distinctly tell the difference between this and the Z. It does look smaller, but it's got a deep face to boot. Well, it's turning, but it's safe. That's so close. I think I need to be aiming just the rough. Just hit it out to the rough. Oh, look at that. So slightly toey as a miss hit. That's what's given us the turn over to the left-hand side. But it's doing pretty well. 275 carry, 302 total distance, and that is with a miss hit as well. Path slightly cross, face open to that, and still wanting to turn left because of the strike. But it's spinning at 2,200, and this is the maximum it would spin. The weights are rammed back as far back as they go. You put the weight start going forward, and that spin number is dropping off dramatically. But feeling wise, it is quite a punchy thing. If anything, it's slightly louder pop than the Z and the X brother. That's a nice shot. That feels nice. Again, slightly toey, fraction open face. Again, it's quite a sensitive girl, the G. If you want like pure forgiveness, then yeah, go for the X and Z. But 7mm high, 8mm toe, good strike. Slightly across, slightly open, little baby amounts. But remember, okay, we are lie 8.7 degrees up, so that loft of 15 degrees is not looking exactly where that 1.4 open says. It is looking a little bit further left than that. So that's why we're having a little bit of draw. But it's spinning at 2.2 again. I mean, it's just doing well. It'll be interesting to test all these different points of how these weights work how much difference the weights make when it comes to moving them, ramming them far forward in their low spin, sticking them all in the drawer, changing the loft as well with the weights moving forward and back. Because I mean, this is a golf club which a myriad of different golfers could use, and because of its low spin properties, you can just ram the loft right up to 11.5 degrees and ram the weights forward to make a high launch, low spin bomber. I'll test that. It'll be a bit of fun doing it after this. Right, let's go give this one another hit. Don't go left, don't go left. Yep, take that again, all day long. Again, fractionally open face, but again, fractionally toey. As a miss, but we're keeping that. I am wimping out and I'm not going left. Again, strike's pretty good, fractionally open face. That's what's given us the increased spin, 2.6 now. But again, that's not surprising considering my face is 2.1 degrees open and my path is across. And it's only basically staying, well, that's a fractional fade. I could tell it's sensitive, we'll call it. It will be not one that you really want to be using all the face for. Oh, that's left. Oh, I felt that as soon as I hit it. Yeah, that even might miss it. That's the first one that I've hit. Oh, it's missed the water. There you go. That's my fault. I felt the face. A strike is no different to the rest. 5mm toe, 6mm high, good strike. Path is 0. I felt the face. I delivered that one 1.5 close. As soon as I hit that, I know, oh no. I was determined that last one there not to wimp out with an open face. Of course, I'd overdone it. But spin's now under 2000 RPM. Under 2000 RPM with the weights far back. Wowzers. Right, one last one. And we'll go test where this goes from all different parts of the weighting system. There's the, it's gone again. Oh dear. Now it's not gonna, it might actually not reach it. No, we're safe. Path across, face is closed, that's going left. And it's only because I mishit it slightly low on the face this time, 6mm low, that it spun up and took the speed off it, and took the carry off the thing. So again, this is possibly a great example of why you shouldn't go for driver off the tee when you've got trouble down the left-hand side. And generally speaking with these, I will want to sort of, my normal driver wants to draw anyway. So this scares the pants off of me. And so this is why I'd be using my 3-wood. But good driver. Feeling is unmistakably carbon. It's a slightly more of a higher pitch pop than the X and the Z. It is a bit more sensitive than the X and the Z, definitely, but it has got that changing weight system, which will be interesting to test. So let's go whack it in high spin, low spin, increase the loft, decrease the loft, things like that to see just how good and adjustable this ST-G driver from Mizuno really is. So after hitting the ST-G a load of times, some different weight positions and also some different loft positions as well, got some information to show you and go through as to how this driver works, how it affects spin from different locations of the weight settings, and also what kind of golfer could be using the STG230, because even though it is basically a very low spin headed driver, it's not just for the uber fast person who needs to control their spin. It has possibly got some applications for amateur golfers of slower swing speeds, or at least people of certain dynamics. We'll get to that one at the end. But I'm not going to do all the ball data and club head data that I normally do. I'm just going to go straight to the ball compare, because I've got 4 different things that I tested and it would just be a sea of information. So we'll be able to get the exact same information from the ball compare screen. So I've started here, first of all, just the normal STG 230 driver at 9.5 degrees with a weight fully back, the one with the maximum spin, maximum MOI, the normal standard setting. Ball speed's only 160, launching 11.1 degrees, and total spin is 2,268. Carrying 277,304 total. Now you can see also the club head data for that one, 110 miles an hour, 15 degrees of dynamic loft, and path and face angles very close to 0. Attack angles 3.4 up, and the strike is in the middle. Now, so after this, I did a test whacking it up as high as it goes when it comes to the loft. and then moving the weight as far forward as I possibly could do to see how much difference the loft and weighting system make. Now, under normal conditions, there is a range of variance, but every single time you increase the loft on a driver, it can make between 250 to 500 RPM, depending on speed, difference per degree that you add of loft to a driver, and also take away as well. So I was expecting, obviously, if you're going to be adding 2¼ degrees, so because maximum loft on this is technically 11.75 degrees with the adapter rather than 11.5. I've written 11.5, it's close enough. But you can be adding quite a bit. You can be adding as much as nearly 800 or so RPM at my speed in loft only. Now, that's amazingly, the spin has only gone up by 100 or so RPM, even though they should have gone up by a lot more. And why? It's because those weights. I've moved the weights from the back to the front, and so those weights have made, for me, around about 700 or so RPM difference, which is in weighting systems a lot. Again, this is a 440cc head, so the weight has got to travel. It makes a bigger difference with that weight rather than making it a massive 460cc more stable head. So it's gone 1 extra yard, that's all, and gone 1 extra yard in carry and total, but then it won't make a massive difference to me because I am already fairly close to the ideal window of delivery. So if you're someone who launches it too low to start with and spins it too much, which is like the holy grail of badness when it comes to trying to maximize your drive, there is an option for you to go get this STG, whack it up as much to nearly 12 degrees and put the weights right forward to lower the spin. And it makes a remarkable difference of how much spin gets taken off from those weight tracks. It really does. So I then decided, right, well, how much difference does it make when I move the weight from the position it was to the draw, to see how draw biased I could make this. I put the same amount of loft, it was still 11.5 or technically 11¾ degrees of loft, and then whacked it all in the draw. So kept the draw weight right up close to the face and took the fade weight out at the toe and whacked it straight into the heel next to the other draw weight. And so you can see there that ball speed's 159, so within reason they're all very close to 159, 159, 159. Not much difference at all. And then launching at 13 degrees, spinning at 2.3, so there's no real difference in spin, but you can see by the yellow that there's a little bit more curvature to it. Now, they've all hit target. So far, all three of them on average have all hit target. You can see by dispersion rings, I don't hit target all the time. You saw from the actual on-camera stuff that you can make a mistake when it comes to face angle very slightly on a low spin driver, and it can make a big difference. So, but on average, it's doing what I want it to do. Now that should be missing left normally with a draw bias driver from the weighting system. But if you look at the club head side of it, you can see that my face angle is 1.2 on the standard, 1.2 on the one with lots of loft and weights forward, and 2.2 when it comes to the draw. I've basically left my face more open, and so countered a certain amount of the draw. Now, okay, if I had my face the same 1.2, 1.2 and 1.2, that would have started more left and of course then turned more left. Now I obviously countered the draw by leaving my face open because again I'm trying to hit target, and it's interesting how different golf minds work. Some people are affected, some people aren't affected by it. Now I'm not normally affected by weighting systems to rotate the face, but I generally am affected by how the center of gravity is moved within the head as soon as you start moving weights around. But it's just an interesting way that I've just found what I did just in the test, that I still hit the same target as such on average, but I did it with more of an open face, showing effectively how much that draw does work because I had to leave the face open to still hit the target. So then I decided to put the driver back down to 9.5 degrees and this time pop the weights at the front. And as you can see, ball speed's 159, so no difference. So all ball speeds remain basically the same, club head speeds are basically remain very, very similar. But launching now at 13.7. Why is it launching at 13.7 degrees, I hear you say, when it should be launching at 11 degrees that the original 230 blue line did. Well, there's a reason. It's now spinning at 1775 and going 282, which is the longest, and 311 total, which is the longest. But if you look at the club head data, you'll see that dynamic loft is at 15.7 degrees, very much so similar to the high lofted ones, and it's a good degree over the standard. But you can see my attack angle is now 6.1. Because of the fact that there's so little spin on this thing, for me to get the golf ball going, I am having to launch it. I'm having to hit further up at it and deliver more loft to get it going. If I was to deliver the same amount of loft as in the initial blue test that I'd done at the start of this testing, then with that spin rate, and obviously deliver the same amount of loft at 14%, that's one loft, which is what, let's say 400 RPM less than that. Well, that's 1775 to start with. If I drop another, that's 1375. That ball is falling out of the sky. So I'm doing everything I can do to launch it. That's how much difference this weighting system will make. It is a very, 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 very versatile driver. However, there is a proviso on there. You have to, within reason, stay fairly close to the middle. I'm not going to do forgiveness testing on this because I found out very quickly there is no point. If you hit middle on this driver, or very close to middle, you can get away with double digits just, but as soon as you start moving 15 mil, 20 mil, you are start away from the middle, you are going to get some very interesting flights. This driver is very sensitive to strike. It is very versatile because obviously you've got the amount of spin movement that it can do with the amount of loft movement that it has got. And so if you're someone who swings at 130 miles an hour, 120 miles an hour, but that struggles with just too much spin through speed, yes, and you hit the middle fairly well, this is a distinct option for you to test, because this really will, and you can dial the spin in. You don't just have to have the weights fully forward or fully back. You can move them around on the tracks to get your spin rate ideally set. If also you're someone who hits too far, say down at the golf ball, don't deliver as much loft as you should, so you launch it low and spin it too much, which is like the holy grail of not good, then going to a G with the loft adjustment it's got, and also with the spin adjustment it's got, can actually give you an avenue for actually gaining some value distance back. Now, of course, in that sense, I would always say go get your swing fixed rather than looking for technology to try and fix it. But if you didn't and you were happy with the rest of your game, you didn't want to change anything, that is an option. But it is also under the understanding that you do have to be hitting fairly close to the middle to be getting the exact results that you're expecting out of this driver. It is very similar like a TSR4 or something like that. Now, what you're finding more so nowadays is a lot more manufacturers are making more models of driver. Why? Because they're trying to encompass every single person, every single conceivable golfer that requires this. Now, I think Mizuno understand, no different to Titleist understand, that a very small percentage of their sales is going to be on the G. But it doesn't mean that they shouldn't make it on the basis of that, because obviously you still want to give people choice. And with the versatility of this driver, with the weight tracks that move so far forward and back, and the fact that you can move it into fade and draw, and with the loft sleeve that it's got, you can have a very, very adjustable and very versatile driver. So looks on this thing, on the top, it looks exactly the same as an STZ or STX. There's no different there apart from a slightly smaller shape. It is different on the bottom because obviously you've got those tracks and the fact that the blue has gone. Now again, I suppose for a G it is different, so it should look slightly different, but yeah, just a difference. Feel and sound, it sounds slightly higher pitched than the Z and the X, and for me, I'll be honest, I actually prefer the sound of the Z. But again, some people care about sound and some people don't. And of course, when you're talking about sound, feel and looks, it is all subjective, and you'll get different answers from 10 different people. So that's just my opinions. Performance though, it performs as good as any other driver of its adjustable nature out there. It is a very, very good driver, although it is obviously for a very small possible conceivable percentage of golfers. Although with that versatility, it does open it up to a few more different golfers of different requirements within the market. So hope you liked the video. If you did, go on, thumbs up. YouTube's like it, so do I. Down there is a subscribe button. It's free and it's great for the channel if you could subscribe, so thank you very much. And next to that is a bell icon, that's a notification bell. If you click that one, that will notify you next time I upload another video. So I hope you're well, and we'll see you again soon.